with y'all. So we about to start doing these tapping in topics again. I know some people like it, some people don't, but you know, I need to get some things out. Anyway, so this is going to be a Q&A for y'all. So we're going to start going live. I haven't figured out what day, but we're going to definitely start going live. And, you know, then we could really get to the questions. We could really do the more here and now. But for this video, let's get to some Q&A. So most recently, I have a comment or a question from Braden Ye 5905. He asked a couple questions. This was regarding an old video. I used to make my little saltwater fish food mix. I also do a freshwater seafood mix or a freshwater food mix. But for this one, they were asking about where I get the spirulina. I got the spirulina from Amazon. You know, I can't remember the price of it, but I got the spirulina from Amazon. But as far as the gelatin, you can get that from anywhere. You can get it from any grocery store. I bought it from Target at the time. You can get it at Walmart, Safeway. Just look for where like the Jello packages. Wherever they have like the Jello packages, just find the gelatin or the boxes of Jello, and then they have the gelatin like right next to it. Because that's basically what it is. The same thing that goes into Jello is the gelatin, unflavored. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see what other questions we got. Can I praise 402? She asked, can I do a video on my plywood tank? I don't know if you can see the wood right here, but I haven't done anything with it. Pretty much as is from the last video. Why? Costs money. Costs a lot of money to get this thing to the next level, on top of the fact that I also got to insulate the room a little bit better because that's a lot more water in here. I also need to get a big air conditioner. I also got to get a big air conditioner for this room to kind of help keep the aquariums cool in here. And especially when I have a ton more water in here, you definitely want to make sure that you have plenty of air movement in the space. So, you know, it's going to cost me another about $3 or $4 grand to get this thing finished up. You know, it's going to take some time. I don't make nothing off YouTube. I don't know if y'all know that. That's going to be in another video. Part of the tapping in. Maybe that's going to be the next tapping in topic. What else we got? Trooper King 2626. He asked, is it just the 2 eels in this 225? Yeah, it is. I had in there a panther grouper. He passed away. I've been hesitant about adding any more fish into that aquarium because you see the eels, they're pretty big, they're aggressive. The fish that I have that might go in there, or the ones that I would have to go in there more sooner than the others, they're small. You know, they're big enough to go in there, but those eels are really aggressive. They like their space, and I'm kind of nervous about putting them in there. I don't want to put any fish in there that's going to become a meal, and I don't really want to disrupt the harmony they have in there. I mean, that Tesla gets about 5 foot. The fish that I have that's going to go in there, they're in the 125. They still have plenty of space. So there's really no pressing issues or any pressing fish that's like knocking on the door to get put into that 225. So I'll probably just leave it like that for a few more months. We'll see. Badger 3044. He says, why in the world don't you cut those smelt or silver sides? Why don't you cut those up so they're easier for your fish to eat and other fish don't have to snag it and tear it out of their mouth? That was the dove. The doveye was doing the same thing to the silver arowana in your other video. Why don't you cut those things up to prevent those guys from fighting over it and possibly injuring themselves or injuring each other? Well, as far as the eels, let's talk about them first. The smelt is big enough. They don't have to fight over it. They chose to fight over it. They don't always do that. I didn't expect that. They don't always do that. It is what it is. You have predator fish. If the fish are really hungry, they're going to fight over the food. I don't know if you know this already, but they will fight over the food. They didn't hurt each other. It's no big deal. As far as the doveye, I don't like to feed the doveye tilapia. I didn't want him to have tilapia. I mentioned in the video the fish that I wanted to feed the tilapia to. I fed, and I did cut the tilapia, but I cut it in half. The silver arowana is big enough to eat a half fillet of tilapia. He eats it all the time. The goby is just a greedy fish. So he wanted what was sticking out of the Arowanas mouth, red pike. He wanted the tilapia as well. I feed them all separate. I fed everybody pellets like I always do. Then I went and fed the Arowana the tilapia. Everybody else that I usually feed the tilapia to, they were being a little extra hungry, a little extra greedy, and being a little extra aggressive with the feeding. So they went after the Arowana to try to get some of the food. I don't know if you missed it, but I stopped the video and I fed everybody pieces of tilapia. When I do that, I do cut it up into small pieces. I cut up the tilapia as well as the smelt into pieces sizable enough to feed the fish that it's for. I was not feeding the goby no large fish like that. Hope that answers your question. I appreciate your concern. Thank you. What else we got? Okay, so we have Razzin Fishes 1918. My black arowana is the only thing, my baby black arowana, the only thing he will eat is aquarium food sticks. Everything else he'll put in their mouth and they won't touch. Pick eaters. I agree with you. So is mine. We got Tony Brown 3850. Cleveland, I haven't followed you in a long time, but did you move? Very nice tanks. Yes, sir, I moved. About a year and a half ago now. We got Team Ramey. What's going on, bro? What you got going on with those boxes inside the Plywood aquarium? Well, I got some boxes from Bever. I'm supposed to be doing some sponsored videos. Got to get that going. I know y'all hate those. The other box, basically this thing turned into storage. Needed some room to put some stuff. I'm not going to be building on this thing for a little bit, so storage it is. Also got some wood in there. I got some wood in there that I plan on adding to the structure of it to beef up the 2x6s and things like that. So pretty much storage for now. Things on hold. It's gonna cost a lot of money. Like I said, if y'all curious about what I make from these YouTube videos and all that, catch the next video. We're gonna talk about that. We got Eric Mata 6164. Did you ever had any ammonia issues? Ammonia issues, not so much. I mean, nitrate, ammonia is converted to nitrites and nitrates converted to nitrates. But ammonia issues, I guess we all have dealt with that before in the past. I would recommend doing a big water change. Maybe 30%, 40%. I don't recommend doing 50 or above unless you really know what you're doing. That could end up causing more issues doing a water change that's over 50% than you would do help. 30%, 20, do that for the next, do it twice a week over the course of a week. See what that does, if that helps. But, if you're having ammonia issues, you're probably overfeeding, your tank is overstocked, and you don't have adequate filtration. So I would remedy those things first. What else? Let's see. All right, my boy over here, Patello. Hey, Cleveland, do you ever get nuisance snails? How do you get rid of them? I got a snail trap on Amazon, and they're reproducing faster than the trap is catching them. I don't really consider snails nuisance. I actually like the snails. I don't know. I feel like that's all part of having an ecosystem. The snails are going to eat the algae. The snails are going to, help eat up the old food that's in the aquarium that you might not even be able to see. So I don't really find snails nuisance. I wish I had those little black snails growing in all my aquariums, to be honest with you. That's just me, though. But I like an ecosystem. You know what I mean? When you have snails, they're feeding on things and, feed them more. Or, if you're trying to take out the snails or trying to get rid of the snails, you might have to break the pond or your aquarium down completely. Get rid of that substrate. Clean, it's almost not worth it, man. It's almost not worth it. I wouldn't. Why do you want to get rid of your snails? Is it that bad? If do you have any puffer fish that you can feed your snails to? I don't know. I never understood why people really have such a bad time and have such a gripe with these snails. Like I said, they're doing a job. You know, they're not. It's not like a fungus. They're not there because your aquarium is dirty. You know, they came into your aquarium by plant or something like that, and they're helping keep your aquarium clean. That's just my take on it. I've never tried to get rid of any snails. Like I said, I wish I had them growing everywhere. I got them growing in a couple places, and I have an aquarium where I've been trying to have them multiply so I can put them in, different aquariums and things like that. This is going to be much better when we go live, I tell you that. Drop in the comments down below when you think we should do a live video. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't want to have it being on the same day as somebody else. So y'all have to pick and choose whether or not you want to watch this one or watch somebody else's. But we are definitely going to start going live. Let's see. Let me just find. Let's see. Let's see. We got to get these questions. Contains. All right, there we go. So here's the questions now. So this is from just user QN5K17JL6E. I'm just curious, did you put any chemicals in after you cleaned the tank? Thank you so much for sharing your experience. This they're referring to when I cleaned the 240 over there. I didn't put no chemicals in there. I didn't even put the chlorinator in there. Right? So the reason why I didn't put the chlorinator in there is because I only did a 50% water change. I've been doing this for a little bit of time. I've been doing this for long enough to feel comfortable enough to not put the chlorinator in every single water change. If the tank was newly set up, if it was a smaller aquarium, if I took out anything above 50%, 80%, you better put the chlorinator. If you have a smaller aquarium, you might want to put the chlorinator. If it's a new setup tank, put the chlorinator. But this tank been set up for a long time, and I've been doing it like this for long enough to where I'm 100% comfortable with doing 50% and underwater changes and not putting the chlorinator. Now, that's not black and white. So you do want to take note of how your fish responds to that type of method. The fish don't respond at all when I do it like this. They act the same way. You see test back there. They don't get like stressed out. I don't see anything different going on with them. They act completely normal. Even when I'm done with the water change, they're swimming around, they're acting fine. If you notice that your fish, after you do a water change, is kind of like sinking to the bottom, it looks stressed out, anything like that, you definitely may want to put some dechlorinator. You might want to put some stress coat in there, things like that. But I don't add that to my aquariums unless I feel I need to. And again, my fish are accustomed to how I take care of them. Everybody take care of their fish different. I might grab one of your fish and they don't respond the same way that my fish do. And vice versa. You might take one of my fish and, they don't respond well to the way that you take care of your fish. So everyone has their own way of maintaining their aquariums. And when you have healthy fish in your aquariums, your fish has clearly learned how to adapt and live with the way that you take care of them. So I hope that answers your question. So we have Matt V. Let's just talk about the elephant ear. So somebody was asking about the 800-gallon pond. They say, what are you using for soil? I've made videos on it. It's a soil mix that I made myself. So you could go ahead and get some pond soil. It's not the same as just a regular soil that you go find at Home Depot. I went and got all my stuff from a pond store. They also have a clay that you use, that I've used. It's broken up clay, sand, And it's just a mixture. So I just mix all of that up. Like I said, I've done it in the video. Also, what's the other one? Coconut fiber. So just mix all that up. Use that as soil. Or use that as a substrate, planting substrate. So that's what I use. So we got this is an old one. So someone was so Omar Tinsley 9494. Hey, at the fish garden, how many tablespoons do you prefer, or do you? How many tablespoons do you do per gallon? Please, brother, I have a big discus with Popeye. I would recommend before using the Epsom salt, you got to treat it for Popeye. I use the Melafix. I use Melafix first. I'm always, people feel different about Melafix. I use Melafix first. So when I had my Dovine and he had Popeye, I was using the Melafix and I was using the tablespoons. And if I'm not mistaken, it recommends like a half a tablespoon per gallon. I didn't do all that. I didn't do it like that. I put in about half that dosage. It was a while ago. I don't even remember. But it recommends about half a tablespoon per gallon. So that's a lot of Epsom salt, especially when you're treating your whole tank. So I would take them out. I would put them in like a quarantine tank. I would treat them with some Melafix. If it's a big discus, throw them in like a 40-gallon. And then you could do the half a tablespoon method. The reason why I didn't do half a tablespoon for every gallon, because it's a 240-gallon aquarium. That's a lot of Epsom salt. So I put enough Epsom salt in there where I was comfortable. I put enough Epsom salt in there to where I was comfortable. And in the end, it worked. My Dovi, he's an 800-gallon. He's doing good. But I have had fish where it didn't work. My African Arowana, my African knife fish didn't really respond very well to the treatment. So sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But before you go with the Epsom salt, make sure you're also using the medication. That's key. You got to medicate it. Even if you don't like Melafix, find a medication that you do like and use that. All right. We got Carlos Kua. All right. Hello. One question. This is the glass 15 or 20 mm? I don't remember when you put together the wooden table and gave it that finish on fire. It was really beautiful, and I don't know, man. Let's check it out. Well, this is about half an inch. So there you go. The glass on that 240 is half an inch thick. Another question. We got Jeremy 87 Turbo 87. Are you obviously you're not equating the stuff that's inside the tank minus the gallons that takes out? If that wasn't a 20-gallon tank, truly, you could get them for false advertisement. I got what you're trying to say. Yeah, you can't. I'm not. They sell all the aquariums to everybody. I'm not gonna try to pick apart and try to get them for false advertisement because they're selling a 20-gallon tank and it's not really 20-gallon. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, each of these aquariums, if you calculate the inside dimensions, and it's going to be a little bit under. We all have to deal with that. It's not I don't feel like it's personal. I don't feel like that, I need to raise an issue about that. It's not a big deal. 20 gallons is a 20 gallon, 240 is a 240, 225 is a 225. It is what it is. When you build your aquarium, you could build your aquarium accordingly. You know what I mean? You could definitely make your aquarium to the correct dimensions, the inside dimensions, so it's accurate. That's the beauty of building your tank. That's the reason why I want to build this 2,000 gallon. I want to build this, this 1,600 right here. All right. Oh yeah, my guy, Mr. Huba Master. Link for the dope merch is on Teespring at the Fish Corner. And the shirts that I wear in my videos, I make myself. So I got a heat press machine. I press them up myself. I don't really have any of the merch from Teespring yet. From what I hear, they kind of backed up with the sales. But if you want to buy some of the merch that I make, if you want to buy some of the merch that I wear in my videos, and I do plan on making some more, and you could DM me, and I definitely will get, it'll be a lot faster. So, just let me know. It's all good. Appreciate you. Next question, we got Badger 3044. Let's see what the question is. All right. That's a really nice looking electric blue Jack Dempsey with the black arowana. Probably the nicest I've ever seen in most active. Did you get him off the net or someplace local? And I also have a silver albino arowana with the black regular eyes and the bright pink fins. It's beautiful. Mine is also in a 225 and the 800-gallon pool pond. Have you had any issues with the pool leaking? Because I've heard those are kind of temporary, where you have to replace them every 5 to 8 years, even when they're indoors. So I've only had this thing set up probably about a year. And I haven't had any issues with it. From my experience, the issues come from not properly putting a mat on the bottom to prevent, especially if you have like substrate and things like that, to prevent any kind of sharp rocks or sand or anything causing any kind of like abrasion, or put any holes in there. Also, the stocking. Some people put catfish in there. Some people put plecos in there. I don't have either, and I'm not going to put them in there because they have these sharp spines that can and will puncture your pond. So, and then as far as the bottom, I have a really thick mat on the bottom of it. And so far, no issues. Everything, all the rocks, all the sand, everything's on top of those mats. So no issues so far. And as far as 5 to 8 years, this thing's not going to be set up 5 to 8 years. So I plan on building, you might have missed it, it's okay. I plan on turning this into a 2,000-gallon plywood build. That's something that's going to happen in the future, but it's not going to stay just a little kiddie pool. So, another question: Are you going to get an African arowana for your collection? African arowana? What's that? It's African arowana. Go ahead, babe. African arowana. Let me look at that. Let me see what an African arowana looks like. African arowana. Oh. Okay. You put me on. It's kind of ugly though, right? But it is one to add to the collection. Maybe. We got space for it. Right on. Appreciate that. Yeah, I just might. Get an African arowana for the collection. I said I want to have them all. Then maybe we could all get together and start protesting and doing what we can to get these Asian arowanas legal over here. I mean, I know y'all agree we definitely should be able to own them, right? If other countries are able to eat them, we should be able to own them. I mean, I'm saying they eating them because they are growing them in abundance. All right. Yeah, somebody else. So that was Edwards Deacon that asked that question. And then followed by Winston Armstead 184. Yeah, I guess I can. All right, so next question. So this is from DT 45er. How warm is the water in your tanks and pond? My water gets pretty warm with the temp being in the 105 realm. Yeah, it gets hot in here. Matter of fact, I haven't even talked about it yet, so you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it exclusive here. So the smaller your tank, the smaller your pond, the higher the tank is gonna be. The higher the temp in the tank is gonna be. So we took a couple of L's with the quarantine fish. You know, some fish could take it, some fish can't. Saltwater fish can't take it. All of my ponds, well, the pond and the tanks are all pretty warm, but the fish are doing all right. It's stressful. It's stressful. I mean, you know, chillers are a ton of money, and when you have this many aquariums, it's almost impossible to rent a chiller to everything in here. You know, you want to keep things kind of isolated and things like that. So, all right, all right. So, as I was saying, it's very hard to keep these temperatures down um, in the fish room in our tanks. So one of the ways that you could, you know, lower the temperature in your aquarium or your pond is you could freeze some bottles of water and then just throw them in there. Just throw a bottle of water in there, and it'll help, you know, bring down that temperature a little bit. Other than that, you know, chillers. It's just like I said, chillers are expensive, and you know, when you have a 240-gallon aquarium, you're gonna spend an arm and a leg. So it's not really feasible for a bunch of us to kind of like have chillers on each of these aquariums. What someone would need to do, what I need to do, is I need to buy an AC unit for this room. So on hot days like this, like it's gonna be over 100 degrees today. This weekend is supposed to be 106 tomorrow and 108 on Sunday. It's gonna be a nightmare. It's gonna be a nightmare. But I have a AC, smaller AC unit in the other fish room. This is a bigger space. It's gonna take a bigger AC unit. And once I do get that, then I'll just close the garage and I'll just cool the whole room so my tanks will stay cool. So if you have if your tanks are inside your house and you have an AC unit, you know, you gotta flip that on. If you don't have an AC unit, try the ice bottle method. It's a better way than putting a bunch of ice cubes in there, because those ice cubes will thaw out almost instantly. So, but yeah, let's see what the pond feeling like. The pond is actually cool. And the reason being is because it's 800 gallons. So like I was saying, the larger body of water, you know, you don't really have to worry about it as much compared to, you know, these smaller aquariums. My 54-gallon over there with my line, with my with stone toad, it's warm. I had to hit them with some cold water. But with freshwater aquariums, it's such a beauty because you could just pull out some of that warm water and put back in some cooler water. Or you could try the ice method. With the saltwater aquariums, it's a lot harder because I have my water standing, so the warm water that I have over there, or the tank, or the salt water I have sitting over there in the reservoir, the 125, it's warm. It's just like the tanks. So, yeah, we struggling together, bro. We struggling together. You must be local. You local, or you just in an area where it gets over 100 degrees? All right. So this was a while back. My Frenchie and me, Sir Dijon. What water do I use? This is an old video. My old video, how to set up your first saltwater aquarium. So at this time, I was buying my saltwater. I buy my saltwater. I buy my RODI. And honestly, that was the best. It just was expensive. But that was the best for my 37-gallon. That's why I had corals and everything was looking great, thriving, doing good. But it's not good on your pockets, you know. So if you have a 37-gallon, 50-gallon, 40-gallon, something like that, you know, you could actually, you know, I ain't gonna say you're gonna save money, but at the same time, it's not gonna hurt you as bad as if you have like a 225-gallon. Like I was spending probably $140 every month on water, just on the two aquariums I had. Now I have a lot more saltwater aquariums, so now I make my saltwater. I have my filtration system for the RODI, but again, that's, you know, that's the money that you might not have to spend if you have a smaller saltwater aquarium. So, you know, I try to keep things, you know, budget friendly. I try to promote things that's going to save you some money. Hence, the type of filtration systems that I set up, anybody could do it. That's why I make these kind of videos for y'all. But yeah. All right, we got another question So this is from 92083 bar. Mr. C, I want an Arowana, but my tank is only 10 foot by 24 inches by 30 inches. Would you recommend the Jardini or the African, or neither? I would recommend for that aquarium, you said 10 foot? That's a nice size aquarium. Uh, either the Jardini or the African, I would go with the Jardini. Out of those two, I'd go with the Jardini. The Jardini is a beautiful fish when they're full grown. The African don't even really look that good to me when they're juvenile. So the Jardini will be an amazing addition to that aquarium. I mean, that's a very large aquarium. Yeah, the Jardini. I have a bunch of people that's asking about the Dovi Feste fry. I am planning on getting to the point to where I'm shipping them. I need to buy the shipping materials, and when I do, I'm definitely going to let y'all know because they got to get up out of here. So we have another question from Tran York. Any chance of getting an engineering goby? I have two, and they are amazing. Color patterns are amazing. Yeah, well, I'm not really quite sure what an engineering goby is. Let's take a look at the engineering goby real quick. Really? Okay. No, that's all good. Okay. Oh, they do look nice. I'll show you right here. That's the engineering goby. That's what the engineering goby look like. Maybe. We'll see. All right. Daniel Montebello, 3410. Now that she's out of quarantine, what do you do to keep the bacteria alive in the quarantine tank? Well, after I took that queen out, I put in another fish immediately, and that fish was going to help with the beneficial bacteria. As far as keeping your beneficial bacteria alive in a quarantine tank, I don't want to say it's not necessary, but I don't really stress about it as much because just as easily as losing your bacteria, you could say, you don't want to risk anything that was in that quarantine section or in that quarantine tank spreading to another fish or whatever. So some people like to break it all down. I don't find myself being too concerned about keeping the quarantine or keeping the bacteria alive in the quarantine tanks. I have a bunch of quarantine tanks or a bunch of tanks that just sit there with water in them, and I wouldn't hesitate to throw a fish in there. Once you get a new fish into that tank, you'll establish some beneficial bacteria over time. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to really worry about keeping that beneficial bacteria alive in that quarantine tank. Or if you are concerned about that, just let it run how it is. Pull some media from another tank, throw it in there so you have some beneficial bacteria, and then let it cultivate inside of your quarantine tank. The only problem with that is that once you're done with that beneficial bacteria that you add in there, you can't really put it back into the other tank. So hence the reason why I say don't really stress about it too much. All right. So Fish Tropic Canada 4747. What's up, bro? How you doing? I noticed that you have your tank by the sunlight. Is this not causing silicone blowouts? I heard the sun is melting people's fish tank lately from how intense the rays are. I keep an eye on that. Cheers. I haven't had that issue. It's not really melting the silicone. That's crazy. That means the tank's getting real hot. I mean, that means that it literally heated up the water so bad that it's still able to melt it. It means you lost all your fish. I mean, hell, if it's getting that hot to melt the silicone, I think at that point I should have did something else. But I haven't had that issue yet. But I appreciate the heads up. I'm more concerned about how did they fish survive. If the water got so hot to where it was able to melt the silicone underwater. Oh, you must be talking about on the outside. Still same thing. Don't the water in the tank usually will keep it cool enough to where it don't melt it. Man, I don't know where they must be in like Las Vegas, Arizona, something like that. Or I don't know. I haven't had that issue out here. User hacked. I need those bishers. Where's the store? They got bishers all over. If there's a specific bisher that you like, just go to your local fish store, call one of your local fish stores, ask them what they have, or you could always order something online. Let me check my mic. All right, let's do it. Let's keep going. What do you use for the substrates? So I already answered that question about the elephant ear. Like I said, you could use a lot of different substrates. Um, Hopefully you caught that. If not, like I said, I'll tell you again. You could use, I would recommend you going to any pond store because they have exactly what you need for the correct substrate for these plants. You don't want to get something that's going to instantly come out the bottom of your plant, the pot, or want to escape out the top of it. You want something that's used to being in the water. And I found that, the pond store that I went to, actually a koi dealer, Koi Enterprise, Sacramento, California. Check them out. But they have the correct substrates for your plants. And so I bought everything that they had, everything that they recommended, added some sand with it, mixed it all up. There you go. And it was like coconut fiber, came in a brick. They had some clay, small little granules of clay. Looks like about the size of your gravel that you put in your aquariums. And then they had a soil that you use. And I haven't had any issues yet. I mean, the plants have been thriving, so that's what I use. All right, so Real Hard Fishing was asking about what store is that, what state. So California, I'm sure this was Aquarium and Reptile Depot. Citrus Heights, Sacramento. Check them out. You could also follow them over there on IG. They got an Instagram. Aquarium and Reptile Depot. Blaze Lightwood 1637. Do you use any type of medicine in your quarantine tank for internal and external parasites? I do. So depending on what's needed, I'll deal with it accordingly. If it's for internal parasites, I use Pro. For external parasites, I use Copper Safe. Nice. Okay, so isn't half-inch glass only safe for up to 2 foot tall? Well, let's see. So we got Mr. Dragon Foo, or I'm Dragon Foo. Nice. He was talking about the plywood aquarium build. Nice. Isn't half-inch glass only safe for up to 2 foot tall? Following this build, I appreciate you following it. Well, we got a tank right here. We can take a look at. It's over 2 foot tall. Let's see. And this one it's not even 3/4. This one's half-inch, and it's over 2 foot tall, 31 inches tall. So I don't know, man. I think that from what the distributor said, he said 1 inch thick is bulletproof. Maybe I want a bulletproof tank, but that's just going to cost more money. It's going to take more time to build. So maybe I will. They don't have 3/4 inch, so maybe I will go with 1 inch thick glass. But it's going to take some time. Nonetheless, that thing is going to sit like that for a while. Next question. Boxing is gold. Hey, Cleveland, loving the videos. I have a few questions about something that I'm sure you'll know. I'm planning on setting up an 825-gallon aquarium or saltwater aquarium shark pond. How would you do water changes on a setup that big? Well, water changes on a setup that big, I would use a pump. I would use a pump to extract the water out, and I would use a pump to put the water back in. I don't have a very large saltwater aquarium yet. This 225 is my largest saltwater aquarium, and I do my water changes by way of a pump. I have my pumps right there. Matter of fact, right behind me, I have it plumbed into a system where I could just close my valve that goes into my filter right there, close the valve that's going into there, open the one that's going into that hose right there, or that pipe right there, and it drains into the sink. And then when I want to put the water back in, I drop a pump inside my 125-gallon saltwater reservoir. I throw the hose into the 225, and I pump the water back in. So I don't know how you plan on doing your filtration system, but it works very well like this. I made all of my filters for my aquariums, or most of my aquariums, and I set it up to where I use the same pump that I'm using for the filter to pump the water out. So it's doing faster. I'm not over here filling up any buckets, dumping the buckets. I would like to get to the point to where I could just open up a couple valves on my pump that's going into the pipe, open up the valve that's on the pipe coming from the pump, and it pumps the water right back in. So that's coming in the future. You know, got other things going on, but that's how I recommend. Just get you a pump. Get you a pump so you can get that water out. And you know, once you build your filtration, you could definitely make it more efficient and easier to do for yourself. Next question, Unknown Amigo 4895. This was from a month ago. Oh, man, these questions are kind of old, and I apologize for that. Like I said, we're gonna start going live. We're gonna start doing some Q&As, all that fun stuff. And they were asking about the dimensions. So Unknown Amigo 4895. What are the measurements of the tank? Looks perfect. 6 foot, same size as this one. 6 foot. Six foot by 30 inches, if I'm not mistaken. By basically, this isn't even 25 inches. I mean, this ain't 26 inches. Close to 26 inches. Like 25 and a quarter, close to 26 inches. So 6 foot by 30 by 25 and a half. So again, this was Brian Strong. They were talking about when I had to repair my 225. You were already draining it and had planned on resealing the whole seam. Why only do the top half when you know there was already one manufacturer defect? Go ahead and do the whole thing so no issues pop up in the future. Well, I did the portion that had the leaks. It's been fixed ever since. No more leaks. You don't have to drain it all the way down just because you see one leak at the top. Fix the part that's an issue. I had a fish in there, so I didn't want to drain it out, take the fish out. It's a lot of water wasted. I'm not going to do that. So you can do it the way you do it. I do it the way I do it. Still hasn't been any issues. And if there is a problem in the future, I'll deal with it then. Just because you fix one thing or you think that you overly fix something, don't mean that other issues can't arise in the future. Deal with it accordingly, and that's my recommendation. To each their own. I read only 2 clowns per tank. What did you do to get them to have? What did you to get them to have not fight? I'm building my 90-gallon. I would like 2 more clowns. Basically, they're saying that they've heard that you could only keep 2 clownfish per tank. What did I do to make it to where I was able to have more than 1 clownfish? I didn't really do anything. I just threw them all in there. Some of them fought, some didn't. I got rid of a few of them. I still have my two maroons. I still have my frostbite. I still have the other designer, and I have the oscillaris. So I did have to get rid of one of the mates of each of the other ones aside from the 2 cinnamon clownfish. J Smooth 317. Where do I find these huge tanks? How long do you water testing before you feel comfortable with stocking them? So, J Smooth, what's up, bro? You know, my local fish stores. You know, I got lucky with this one right here. I had a local fish store out here that sold very large aquariums. They had a fire about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and they haven't opened back up. So I don't really have a manufacturer fish store that sells, 240s and, readily have the 225s. But I bought both these aquariums from the same spot. And, I got the newest ones, from my local fish stores. They had them in the back of their warehouse, and they were trying to get rid of them. They had some imperfections, clearly. One leaked on me. The top bracing was gone, but reach out to your local fish stores, or you could also buy them online. I see Fish Tanks Direct has a lot of big, large tanks. I mean, they're pricey, but it's an option. And how long do I wait? I'm one of those people that I don't do fishless cycling. The longer you take without fish in there, the longer it's going to take for your tank to cycle. You got to get something in there that's going to create some bacteria in order for you to get the cycle going. So I'm very big on fish cycles. So I set up my aquarium and newly set up. Let's just say I just take the tank, set it up, and I have everything running, filter running, heater going, all that good stuff. I'll add some fish the next day, sometimes the same day if I feel like it. You got to get hardy fish. Get some fish that can withstand, because it's still going to cycle. You're still cycling it even though you have fish in there. So get you some fish that are hardy, that can deal with, the fluctuation with the parameters, because it's going to be very sterile, and then it's going to start having ammonia, and then the ammonia is going to be high, and then you're going to develop the nitrites, or you're going to develop the bacteria to facilitate the nitrogen cycle. So then the ammonia is going to turn to nitrites, it's going to go to nitrates, and you're going to see your tank a little cloudy. You're going to go through all of the steps that you would go through anyway. The only difference is that it's happening faster because you got fish in there and you're not sitting there looking at an empty tank. But to each their own. I say it all the time, to each their own, man. Like, some people are, totally against it, and some people, they with it. And like I said, I'm not a fishless cycle person. I've done that in the past, and it took a long time to get to the point to where, I was comfortable enough to have fish in there. Whereas when I do the fish cycle, it's a lot faster. A lot faster for your tank to cycle, because immediately you get some bacteria, and as soon as you put the fish in there, you start getting some ammonia, and you start getting bacteria. As soon as it defecates, as soon as you feed them, you start getting to the point to where you got the bad bacteria, and then you start getting the good bacteria, and then the good bacteria start facilitating the nitrogen cycle. So almost immediately. So we got James Nance 9728. Man, that is a sick looking Flowerhorn. What type is he? I don't know. He's not a Thai silk. I don't know. They didn't have a type of Flowerhorn. He was at the fish store when I bought him. He was a rescue. So somebody donated him. He was already almost that size. So they just had him in there for sale. So I just bought him. All right, we only gonna do a few more questions. How's a turtle? Did you make? How's a turtle? Did you made any extra room for it inside the plant box? That's what it looked like. Plants taking up all the room. Place, I don't know what you're really asking. Sounds like you're asking me, did I make room for the turtle? The turtle has plenty of room. Plants are doing what they're supposed to do, which is eating up the nitrates, helping me keep a clean aquarium, helping me filter the aquarium or the pond form naturally. What are the dimensions of the 225? I've answered that. Does Aquatic Collection ever stock sharks? Yeah, they do. They actually do. I bought my first shark from them years ago. So just give them a call, or tell them Matter of fact, you could call Aquatic Collection and they'll order you one. Or they'll take down your number and they'll put you on like a wish list and they'll let you know when one come in. So, just give them a call. And that was from Kev Wheel 42. I mean, my bad. And that was from DPOX2. So yeah, just give them a call, bro. Give them a call. All right. Desmond Chapman, 5029. What about some ram cichlids in there? Homie from Blue Ram, Black Rams, etc. You dig? It would be a good look word. I don't really have tanks that could keep rams. I have all very large aggressive fish. Even the fish that's kind of small right now, they all get big. And those rams will end up food. So I can't keep any rams. All right. DP, back at you again. You asked how long did that shark last in this tank? The shark was cool. It's hot in here. The shark was cool for some time. As soon as I added in my little 3-inch clown trigger, he bit the eyes, both eyes, and then that was the end of the shark. All right, let's see. Road King HD, Califast, 87, 82, 87. Are you going to do a liner to extend the pond? Love from 916 South Sac. What's up, bro? We right around the corner from each other. What's good? The pond is going to turn into a 2,000 gallon eventually. So it's going to be a whole new look. I'm trying to figure out a way to still incorporate the plants and all that because the plants make it to where I swear I do absolutely no maintenance on this 800 gallon. I add water. I haven't even had to clean the filter yet. No algae, nothing. So trying to figure that out. But eventually this will be a 2,000 gallon and I'm not going to do liner. I'll actually, put fiberglass, build a frame for it, fiberglass it, and a pond shield, and have it that way. I'm not putting any glass panels on the side because from having this pond, the beauty of this pond, and what a lot of people don't really understand because they're so hell-bent on, I want to see it from the side. Yeah, it's definitely nice to look at your aquariums from the side, but I noticed that these fish occupy every inch of the aquarium or of the pond. They occupy every inch of the pond. There's not like a certain area where they like more because I come over to the front of the glass. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think about it, when you have these aquariums, as soon as you go to the front of the glass, what the fish do? Come to the front. If you're in a room, what are the fish doing? Sitting there right at the front. You know what I mean? They're not even occupying the whole space of the tank itself. So I love that. You know what I mean? It's more natural. The Arowana, my Arowana don't have drop eye because I feed them from the top. So yeah, I'm not going to have this 2,000 gallon pond at all with side viewing panels. I don't want it like that. Now, if I make it tall, then I have no choice, but it's probably not going to be too tall. It might just be 4 foot, which is like some of these stands, 4 foot. And, everything is going to be from the top view. I enjoy it. I like it. The fish love it. Like I said, right now I have a fish all along the sides, whereas that wouldn't be the case if I had one side with a viewing panel. All the fish should be shoved to one side right there by the viewing panel, and then they'll be fighting each other to be in front of the viewing panel. It's a lot of extra aggression that's not necessary. But again, that's just what I've learned from having this pond and over for the past year and some change, and I appreciate that so much more. I wish I could have did that with the plywood, but again, that's not really what this one's for. I want it to be like, I want the fish to come to the front of the glass and be in the videos with me and things like that. So, yeah. So we got Diane Edwards 9451. How long does a live sand last in the bag if it was sealed? If it was still sealed? So as long as your live sand, as long as it has moisture in the bag, your sand is live. If it's dried out, it's not going to be live. And I don't know how they keep it live in that bag for so long. Because I mean, if you have a tank without fish, what happens? Excuse me. If you have a tank without fish, what happens? Usually the beneficial bacteria die off. But it's sold as live bacteria in the sand. I'm not going to argue with it. I don't even know what the fluid is. Maybe it's just water. I don't know. But I still recommend, if you're going to set up a saltwater aquarium for the first time, get the live sand. Make sure the bag of sand has fluid in there. Get the live rock. Buy your water. And I'm telling you, you can add fish the next day. We got Savoy 3245. What grow lights are you using? I am building a 1,000-gallon raised pond in my garage. That's what's up. Man, I'm sorry I missed this comment. What's up? So let me know how that's going. Let me know how that pond is going. And the grow lights, I got them off Amazon. I put in the description a link for those lights. Hopefully I won't forget. Maybe, as a matter of fact, I could probably try to pull them up for you right now. But yeah, bought them on Amazon. Those lights have been doing amazing with these plants. And I highly recommend using grow lights instead of regular lights. Like, don't do that. They light up the pond and they are actually beneficial. So let me see if I can pull them up real quick. We got to wrap this up soon. It's been a while. Let's go. Come on. I got to go back kind of far because there we go. So look, here they are right here. So I will put them in the description down below. But look, just in case you don't want to, let's see. Come on. Can you see that? You can. That's all. It's not even allowing you to see it. Nope. Try it again. Nonetheless, Minios LT5s grow lights, 4 foot, 5,000 K, 120 watts. I will put that down in the description so you can find them, because it wouldn't focus. Somebody was asking how much I'm going to charge for the fry. What's up, King Lou? The fry, $10 for the 1 inchers, $20 for the 3 inchers. I don't have that many that's bigger than that. Once they get to like 4 inch and bigger than that, we'll talk about it. Probably goes up in the price a little bit. I've been having these fry for almost a year now. It's a lot of feeding. All right. A lot of different questions about the fry. So we got tall hat, whatever. What are those small fishes with the flowerhorn, and how the flowerhorn is living with another flowerhorn and Oscar? No, and how flowerhorn is living with another flowerhorn and Oscar. So the small fish that's in that 150, they're the goby fish. They fry. They grew up. They were small when I put them in there. They're doing pretty good in there with the flowerhorn. I don't think you could put 2 flowerhorns together. Drax is pretty aggressive. He don't even want to live with. If I put anybody, I put the Oscar fish in there. I put the tiger Oscar in there. Same size him, a little bit bigger, and it wasn't a good idea. So it's kind of touch and go. I think if I moved him into the Oscar aquarium, maybe I have a better chance. But, you know, a lot of times the flowerhorns are very aggressive. So it's kind of hard to find tank mates. He's been allowing all of the goby fish they fry to grow and be in there with them. Also having their red tiger motorguins. But, like I said, it's touch and go. All right, so that's about it. That's about it. I'm about to, I'm going back. It's two, comments from 2 months, questions from 2 months ago. So that's about it. This was a long one. I hope that you all, stuck around, and if you are one of the people that asked the questions, hopefully you got your question answered, and hopefully you came back to hear your question being answered. Anyway, like I said, we're gonna start going live. We're gonna start doing this Q&A. I got some other things to do, but I appreciate you all for sticking around and watching and enjoying this, or whatever the case may be. And welcome to Tapping In. If you're new here, tap that subscribe button, tap that like button, tap that share button one time. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video. Peace.